If you walked through any of the streets of Jerusalem last night, you would have seen candles burning in windows all throughout the city. That's because last night started the first night of Hanukkah. Positive things are happening in Israel in regard to terror. A convicted terrorist was deported Sunday morning and has his residency in Israel revoked by the Minister of Interior. Stay tuned for a first-hand video into what the IDF faces on a daily basis, trying to keep the nation of Israel safe. And surprise, surprise, the New York Times is at it again, spewing their hatred for Israel like never before. All this and more on today's show. I'm Josiah, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda that you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. Welcome back to the show, guys. Great to have you here again. First off, make sure you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button, like the video, also subscribe. It really helps us out and helps it get out to more people across the internet and social media. Also, if you hit that notification bell, you will never miss an episode of the Israel Guys. We're coming to you 3 times a week with shows and updates on what is happening from an on-the-ground source here in the land of Israel. First off, I want to wish Happy Hanukkah to all those who are celebrating the festival of Hanukkah in Israel and throughout the world. So in Jerusalem, last night, the candles were lit for the first night of Hanukkah in a public ceremony attended by the rabbi of the Western Wall, Rabbi Shmuel Rabinowitz, and also the mayor of Jerusalem, Moshe Leon. They lit the candles for a big celebration attended by thousands of people down at the Western Wall, where they lit the first candle for the first night of Hanukkah. I wasn't actually there, but we have some volunteers that were there, and they said it was an amazing experience to see the candles lit right there at the base of the Western Wall. Really cool ceremony. A great way to start out the festival of Hanukkah. They're going to be lighting the candles there every single night, and actually, I believe you can be able to watch that live on the internet. There's a live stream of the Western Wall and the candles being lit there every night. So go check that out. Tune in to see the candles being lit at the Western Wall during the festival of Hanukkah. It's pretty cool. The rabbi of the Western Wall, during the ceremony, made an amazing speech about the Western Wall and the festival of Hanukkah and what it means to the people here and those who go to the Kotel, the Western Wall in Jerusalem. He said, whoever makes their way to this modest plaza at the foot of the ancient stones and joins the tens of thousands who come to the Western Wall every day sees that the Western Wall continues to be a place of connection and unity. They see that a place where prayers of every kind are recited alongside each other. They see traditional prayers and those that are spontaneously erupt from the heart. Everyone is attracted to the Western Wall and to the light that shines from it onto the nation and out to the entire world. This year again, we will light the menorah at the Western Wall Plaza every night of Hanukkah. And again, that is part of Israel's mission, and they see their mission is to be a light to shine into the nation of Israel and also out to the entire world. So happy Hanukkah to those who are celebrating Hanukkah. It's a big festival here in the land of Israel. It's also really fun because you get to eat latkes, which is like fried potato cakes, and also sufganiyot, donuts. So you get a good excuse to eat lots of donuts during the festival of Hanukkah. I should have brought some with me today on the show. I don't know what happened. All right, the Interior Minister. Good news on terror here in Israel and dealing with terror and trying to prevent terrorism from happening. The Interior Minister, Ayelet Shaked, who is about to leave her post with the new government coming in, was able to deport a known terrorist, to France. And then the deportation actually just finished up and took place. He was sent away by plane Sunday morning. And the decision was made 2 weeks ago by Ayelet Shaked, the Interior Minister, to deport him and revoke his residency in Israel. So Salah Hamouri was a French citizen, and also he is a French citizen who was also a permanent resident of Israel. He was born in 1985, and he has been very active for many years in the terrorist organization PFLP, which is the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. They're responsible for a lot of horrible terrorist attacks in the last 30, 40, maybe even 50 years since they were originally founded. And he's been very active. He has been responsible for organizing, inciting terror attacks, planned to carry out terror attack on his own initiative, like personally, just from his own ideas, and also on behalf of the PFLP, the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine here in Israel, not only against just Israeli citizens, but also prominent figures in Israel, such as rabbis and political leaders as well. So he was arrested many times for his involvement in these terror activities and placed in administrative detention. And just 2 weeks ago, the Minister of Interior signed his revoked his residency. He didn't have citizenship, and he was actually deported yesterday morning. So this is incredible that the the Ministry of Interior is actually taking action and actually going through and deporting somebody like this, who's very dangerous, and anybody who is standing against the state of Israel like this, very dangerous. And it's a great preventative for terror is to deport these guys, those who are involved. And it really should happen on a daily basis. It should happen on a regular basis. For every time you find somebody who's involved in planning terror attacks, or who has committed terror attacks or anything like that, deport them. Deport them back to if they're a citizen in another country, deport them back to that country, revoke any rights or citizenship they have in Israel, and or like residency, any of that kind of thing. If they're a resident, revoke that and kick them out, because terror, Israel does not stand for terror. They're responsible, and they stand for keeping their citizens safe, keeping the Jewish people, the nation of Israel safe, and that the citizens of Israel does not just include the Jewish people, because there's Arab citizens here as well. And Israel and Israel's military is also committed to keeping those Arab citizens safe as well. So really good to see that happening from Ayelet Shaked as she's leaving her office of the Ministry of Interior, with the new government hopefully coming in this week or the next week. Before we go on, I want to tell you about the sponsor for today's video, Blessed by Israel. I also want to let you know where you can find amazing gifts for your loved ones that are made right here in Judea and Samaria. Our friends at Blessed by Israel ship the beautiful products of small businesses and families from Israel's heartland to people all around the world, and right now they are offering discounts on some incredible gift packages. Bless your family and friends with the wonderful taste, smells, and goodness of the Promised Land when you send them some extra virgin olive oil or savory spices, or maybe they'll love a cosmetic bundle. Hand creams, soaps, and lotions. Perhaps they would be happiest with chocolate. We have chocolate and coffee. The best part about this is at the same time that you blessed your loved ones, you are also blessing the faithful pioneers that are restoring and rebuilding Judea and Samaria. That's right, your purchases are an effective way to contribute to the strengthening of Israel. Blessed by Israel actually just received a brand new shipment of products from Israel, and they are available now. Favorites like chocolate, which is from the Hebron area, and they're also sure to sell out very fast, because like chocolate is also my favorite. So head over to blessedbyisrael.com to get some wonderful gifts for your friends and families, and know that you are making an impact. www.blessedbyisrael.com. That's blessedbyisrael.com. Click the link in the description below, or you can click up here to get amazing products from Judea and Samaria. I came across a video on social media I wanted to show you guys, because it really gives you a firsthand glimpse into what is happening in these Arab towns when the IDF goes in to arrest terrorists. And basically, it's really what the IDF faces on a daily basis, just trying to protect its own citizens and keep the nation of Israel safe. So the IDF military forces went into the Arab controlled city of Jenin, which is in northern Shomron, northern Samaria. Here in Samaria, they went into Jenin early this morning for an operation. We don't know exactly the details of the operation or what exactly their objective was, but we know from previous operations, and we know that anytime the IDF goes into Jenin, it's only to arrest terrorists. They never go in to arrest innocent civilians or harass people there, as the media tries to say that they do. But the only reason the IDF ever goes in is to actually go in and arrest either convicted those who are known to have carried out terrorist attacks, or those who are involved in planning, or even maybe suspected of planning a terror attack in the future. The IDF goes in to arrest them, and many, many times, because it's such a terror hotbed in Samaria here, it ends up in a firefight. The terrorists attack the IDF and fight them. And as you can see in this video, is exactly what happened. This is what the IDF faces going into Jenin. Let's play the video. As you can see, the IDF is rolling in their jeeps. They're going to the target area where they're trying to find this suspected terrorist, and they're being hit by all sides by massive amounts of fire from multiple gunmen, I'm sure, in the area. And also, you saw there was a Molotov cocktail thrown at the jeep, caught the tire on fire. Things like this, it's crazy. I mean, listen to that gunfire. It's just massive amounts of bullets being sprayed at the IDF. And really, this is what happens every time they go into Jenin and many times other cities around Judea and Samaria. Shechem, Nablus is what the Arabs call it, and also Ramallah, Hebron. When they go in to try to take out these terror hotbeds, this is what the IDF faces. Very, very dangerous mission that they go in, because there's bullets flying everywhere. And they're doing all this just to keep the nation of Israel safe and keep their civilians safe, because if they didn't, then terror attacks would increase. These terrorists would be able to plan and actually carry out their evil plans to kill innocent Israeli civilians here in the state of Israel. So this is just incredible. The forces of the IDF, and I just wanted to show you guys that video. Kind of just maybe would change your perspective if you've never thought about what the IDF faces going into these towns and villages, trying to keep Israel safe. Pretty incredible, and just kind of mind blowing when you think about all these forces attacking them as they go in and what they have to deal with, really on a daily basis, trying to stop terror here in Judea and Samaria. So continue to pray for the IDF. Continue to stand strong, support the military of Israel, who are dedicated to the defense. The IDF stands for Israel's Defense Forces. They're not an aggressive force. They're not an offensive force. They're here to defend the borders and the nation of Israel from without and from within, especially as regards to Judea and Samaria. All right, in other news, the New York Times is at it again. Like I said before, spewing hatred, their hatred of Israel. And this time they are saying that Israel's new government, the incoming government, is a threat. The New York Times published an op-ed on Saturday by the editorial board of the New York Times, claiming that Netanyahu's incoming government is, quote, a significant threat to the future of Israel, its direction, its security, and even the idea of a Jewish homeland. For one, the government's posture could make it militarily and politically impossible for a two-state solution to ever emerge, end quote. Just to start off, this new government is a significant threat to Israel's security. The idea of a Jewish homeland. Wait. They said it's a threat to the idea of a Jewish homeland, and they said it's going to make it impossible for a two-state solution to ever emerge. They said that in the same sentence. When you realize that those two things are direct opposite of each other. You can't have a two-state solution and a Jewish homeland happening in the land of Israel today, with the demographics, with the landmass, with the military situations, with the way the Palestinian Authority, the amount of Palestinians, everything, all these terror organizations. There's no way for there to be a Palestinian state, like they're trying to say there is, and a Jewish state that are right next to each other, and there's not going to be issues. There's not going to be peace if they try to implement this. So I mean, just right here, contradictory statements that make absolutely no sense if you know anything about what's happening in Israel. But again, I'm sure you're not surprised, this coming from the New York Times. The op-ed also called for the Biden administration to act. And they also said, quote, to do everything it can to express its support for a society governed by equal rights and the rule of law in Israel, as it does in countries all over the world. That would be an act of friendship consistent with the deep bond between the two nations. Wait a second. An act of friendship would be interfering with Israel's democracy? Is that what they're saying? Because, unfortunately, he said that the Biden administration should do everything to support a society governed by equal rights and the rule of law. Let me tell you, this government coming in is the rule of law. This is the way the law works. This is the way democracy works. All these people were elected democratically to Israel's government, and right now they're trying to form a coalition. So the Biden administration interfering with that, or trying to do everything it can to express support for a society governed by equal rights, well, that's what's happening. Equal rights for the right and for the left, for the Arabs, there's Arab MKs in Israel's parliament. There's the majority is Jewish MKs, because that's the majority of the demographics here in Israel. It's a democracy, guys, and this is the way it works. And so the New York Times is completely wrong for saying anything like this, that there's no, going against the rule of law or equal rights. That's absolutely false. Just completely false statement. It goes on to say ministers in the new government are set to include figures such as Itamar Ben-Gvir, who was convicted in Israel in 2007 for incitement to racism and supporting a Jewish terror organization. He will probably be Minister of National Security. Also, Bezalel Smotrich, who has long supported outright annexation of the West Bank, is expected to be named the next finance minister with additional authority over the administration of the West Bank. Now, we don't have any time to go into the whole op-ed, the whole article in the New York Times. But just start naming a few of the politicians that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to form a coalition with, and these are the guys on the right-hand side. Itamar Ben-Gvir, we've talked a lot about him on this channel. I would encourage you to go back and watch. And if you don't know who he is and what he stands for, you should really look into it, because what you're hearing on the media, what people are saying, is not at all true as to who he is. People are calling him a far-right extremist. They're calling him fascist and racist. Absolutely not correct. Ben-Gvir has said himself, and even I heard it just the other day, he said, when I was 17 and when I was younger, I made statements that I don't agree with, and I was rash, and there was things that I don't believe anymore that I believed as a young man who may have been more excited, more more enthusiastic about certain ideals that I held, that I realized today were wrong and need to be corrected. And Itamar Ben-Gvir, excuse me, stands for a lot of amazing things. He stands for the security of the state of Israel, for saying that we are going to say no to terrorism. We're not going to negotiate with terrorists. We're not going to deal. We're not going to be soft on terrorism. We're going to be hard on it. We're going to deal with it properly. All these things are critical to the security of the state of Israel, and Itamar Ben-Gvir may be a very key part of that in the next government. I like what they say here, that Bezalel Smotrich, and what they're accusing him of is his long support for outright annexation in the West Bank. Is that a crime? Is that wrong? I mean, in my opinion, and what would be beneficial for the state of Israel, this would be incredible for Israel to annex the West Bank, declare sovereignty, and be able to declare Israeli law here. And a lot of the issues we have with the Arabs and terrorism and stuff, that would go down, because it would all be under Israel's law, and they would be able to apply law. And the Arabs would have to follow the law, or suffer the consequences of not following the law. And a lot of crime, terrorism would go way, way, way down. The article concluded by saying that anything that undermines Israel's democratic ideals, whether outright annexation of Jewish settlements or legalization of Israeli settlements and outposts, would undermine the possibility of a two-state solution. Again, completely false statement, saying that outright annexation of Jewish settlements or legalization of the settlements is undermining Israel's democratic ideals. Those things do not undermine Israel's democratic ideals in any way. So that's a completely false statement. But I just love how they keep coming back to it undermines the possibility of a two-state solution. Wow, they're just really stuck on this two-state solution thing, as if that is the only thing. And really, it's been tried multiple times with peace talks. You can go back and look at the history. Israel's tried many times to give land for peace, land for peace, land for peace. This has been the rhetoric that has been talked over and over and over throughout the decades of Israel's existence in dealing with the Palestinians. And it's happened many times. Israel's given away a lot of land for peace. And look, we still don't have peace. Obviously, it's not working. Let's try a new solution. Let's stop talking about this two-state solution, because we know it is not going to work. It is not going to accomplish peace. All right. Benjamin Netanyahu responded to this article as well. He well, actually, he really doesn't really have to, because I'm sure you guys know, really just can ignore the New York Times. You don't really have to respond to them. But for the sake of those who are not involved, it's great for the Prime Minister to give his thoughts on this. And the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, responded in a tweet to the article. He said, quote, "After burying the Holocaust for years on its back pages and demonizing Israel for decades on its front pages, the New York Times is now shamefully calls for undermining Israel's elected incoming government. While the New York Times continues to delegitimize the one true democracy in the Middle East and America's best ally in the region, I will continue to ignore its ill-founded advice and instead focus on building a stronger and more prosperous country, strengthening ties with America, expanding peace with our neighbors, and securing the future of the one and only Jewish state." End quote. That, again, is from the incoming Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Doesn't sound like undermining democratic values. Doesn't sound like stopping peace. Let me tell you, Israel's committed to making peace, whatever it takes, and they do a very good job of trying to accomplish that every single day. Benjamin Netanyahu has a lot of experience with dealing with the Palestinians, and obviously being the Prime Minister of Israel. So we look forward to see what will happen in the future when this new government is actually sworn in. Guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't listen to the New York Times, as I'm sure you already do not. And we can focus on the right thing, because when we know that when the New York leftist organization like the New York Times is coming against us and or against you, or saying, in this case, coming against the new government of the state of Israel, and they're seeing you as a massive threat, you can be pretty positive that you're doing something right. You're doing something good. And we'll tell that to the nation of Israel. We'll tell that to the new government coming in. This is only confirmation that maybe this is the next best step for Israel with this government coming in. Who knows? We have yet to see what will happen in the future, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below about the new government coming in. Let us know what you think about the New York Times. Love to see your thoughts there as well. In the meantime, tune out the fake news and tune into what is actually happening in the land of Israel. We'll be back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with your direct connection to the land and people of Israel.